Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. I'm not certain exactly when you'll be viewing this video for the first time, so I thought I would cover all the bases and hit all the possible times when that might be. My name is Ronald N. Montaperto. That's Montaperto. The reason I make such an issue of this is because when you've been dealing with a name like mine, for as long as I have been dealing with a name like mine, you learn that people find it difficult to take in at first hearing. Therefore, I'm going to say it again. It's Ronald N. Montaperto. Montaperto. Just to thoroughly bore you with this, most people want to spell it Monteperto, but it's actually Montaperto. You just heard the first question on your final exam. And extra credit will be given if you get it right. Obviously, there will be a deduction from your total credits if you get it wrong. In any case, this is Political Science 120, Introduction to American Politics Online. Truth in advertising compels me to say that this is the first time I have ever taught this class or any class completely online. I know there are bugs, and I know there are things that will have to be worked out. I know that none of them are terribly serious, but these do not have to be issues for us for two reasons. First, the level of technical support at the college is extraordinarily high, and the level of patience for those who provide that support and willingness to help is beyond mention. It is that good. Secondly, I'm willing, which means that when we discover these bugs, you need to communicate to me as quickly and as rapidly as possible so that we can get them cleared up and we do not allow them to become impediments to our learning process. Today, I want to do just a couple of things. First, I'd like to tell you a bit about myself. Secondly, I'd like to talk about the course, what our objectives are, our methods, what I expect of you, what your responsibilities are, and what you have a right to expect from me. Let's start with the least interesting of all of these. That's me. I have a PhD, an MA, and a PhD in political science from the University of Michigan. I specialized in two areas in my PhD work. One was American politics. The second area that I worked in involved Asian politics. At that time, the study of Asian politics was not very advanced, whereas the study of American politics was. And I thought that would be a pretty good combination. However, I must say that my true area of substantive interest through all of this has been in Asian politics. I lived in China, I taught in China, I speak Chinese, I read Chinese, I've lived in Japan, I've traveled all over Asia for these many years. My career involved academics. I taught at Indiana University for 10 years. I then joined the Defense Intelligence Agency for 10 years, where I worked as an analyst of Chinese military affairs. I then joined the National Defense University, where I was part of a very, very small team of people that did specific work in policy planning for the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and for the Secretary of Defense and his office. All of this is not to toot my own horn. It is just to try to reassure you that even though I have spent substantively most of my academic time, my intellectual time, working on Asian issues, the context in which I've done it has been entirely within the American political system, the American bureaucratic system, which is to say, I think I have a good theoretical and practical knowledge of how our system works. And that's why I went through all of that trouble. That's enough about me. That's far more about me than you need to know. I'm going to treat this class as the first step that each of you is taking on a road to a bachelor's degree in something, arts, sciences, whatever. I think most of you are probably going to go on after you finish your associate program to a four-year institution and complete that. So this is your freshman class. This is your introductory class to something, to a process that's going to continue certainly for 4 years, maybe for a bit longer, maybe for a bit less, but you're starting this entire thing. My objective for this class is to enable you to begin to think clearly about American politics. When I was your age, I used to think that American politics was pretty cloudy and pretty difficult to understand. Now, I am beyond confusion. I am beyond clarity. I am beyond amazement. I am beyond befuddlement. This speaks to lack of ability on my part, does that too. But I think I share that with an awful lot of other people, or a lot of other people share that with me, depending on your point of view. And so, my job, our work together this time around, must involve coming to terms with the real issues involved in American politics. Which leads me to the bugaboo, the thing that we have to identify and work with directly. Ideology. Ideology is our enemy. Ideology is a way of thinking about things that denies the validity, even the worthwhileness to mention any other opposing ideas. To be an ideologue, as I understand that term, is to be dictatorial, is to be unwilling to respond to questions, unwilling to admit questions. And yes, I think, as I use the term, most ideologues are in fact dictatorial in the way, or dogmatic is perhaps a better word, in the way in which they speak. We have got to be aware of our ideologies. We all have them. We have to be aware of them and become aware of how they impact the way that we think. So my job is to ask by questions and stimulations and other things, and by constant referral and critique, you to become aware of your ideologies and compensate for them, do things with them. To do that, we have a structure. If you look at your syllabus, or when you look at your syllabus, you'll see that we have lectures, we have readings, we have discussion forums, and we have essays. In terms of grading, your performance on the reading forum, on the discussion forums, will account for 20% of your total grade. Your response on weekly essays, short, 1,000 words max, will count for 20%. Now, the remaining 60% will be accounted for by your performance on 3 examinations. In my day, we didn't talk about midterms and finals so much as we did about our exams. I still think in terms of our exams. So I'm going to ask you to write 3 open book, our exams, your performance on which will account for 60% of your grade. As a strategy to work your way through all of this, what I suggest you do really is take the lectures and the readings, think about them, get your ideas in order, and then try your ideas in the discussion forum and see what kind of response you get. That exchange and that experience ought to enable you to crystal your ideas, to give a short, sharp, concise response, 1,000 words or less, to what I'm talking about issues. Now, that's the strategy that I had in mind. As things go along, perhaps you'll think of a different way, or a way that serves your name better. That's fine. If you do, I and your classmates would be very grateful if you would share it with us, because that's an important part of what we do. I think the most important thing that I have to say to you, today at least, is this. This is a collegial, joint, cooperative venture. I know a little more than you know. That's just a fact of life. I have thought about these things and have had experiences that you have not. This is what I bring. I am ready, able, willing, and I love to share these things. What I expect from you is to plunge in to this adventure. Pardon my language. Is to plunge into this adventure with all of your being. I know I'm a hard-nose, like all professors, but there is nothing more important in your lives, this semester at least, than Political Science 120, Introduction to American Politics. So, your job is to participate. Your job is to state the things that you feel and why. Your job is to help each other. Your job is to elevate what your friends say. You don't have to argue and say you're wrong. You say things like, well, I always thought, or have you ever thought about, or are you saying this? And we keep it polite and we keep it open, and thereby we all progress. Now, what I hope I've put across today is the notion, if nothing else, that this is a collegial, cooperative, fun adventure. And I look forward to talking to you more in the not too distant future. So thank you.